Hi, this is Paula at the Giodone Library, and this is Paula's Picks. Today, I'd like to read you books about strange rides. My first book is called The Great Balloon Hullaballoo, written by Peter Bentley and illustrated by May Matsuoka. The Great Balloon Hullaballoo. Simon the squirrel was off to play ball. But there stood his mom with a list in the hall. Please pop to this shop, Simon dearest. Here's money for teepee, new pants for yourself, bread and honey. And one thing that's much more important than these, tonight we've got pizza, so don't forget cheese. So off trotted Simon with Rodney Raccoon. Suddenly Simon said, "Look, it's the moon. Everybody knows that it's made out of cheese. If we jump, we can take just as much as we please." They ran to the lake in a mad, gleeful dash, leapt from a tree trunk and landed, curse splash. "You pair of daft noodles, the moon's in the sky," laughed Bethany Bear, who stood watching nearby. "No problem," said Simon, "we'll fly to the moon." In old Uncle Somerset's special balloon. "You're all very welcome to go for a ride," said old Uncle Somerset. "Clamber inside, grab a nice cushion, there's plenty to try." Then he untied the rope, and they rose in the sky. They shot into space with spectacular force until a great comet, whoosh, blew them off course. "You've gone the wrong way," said a cow with a frown. She had just jumped the moon and was on her way down. "Oh, well," Simon said as they sped through the stars, "it looks like we'll have to go shopping on Mars." They landed on Mars and bought honey and bread from a little green man with 3 eyes in each head. Bethany called to her friends, "Look at me! There's a wonderful view from this funny old tree. But why is it covered in hairy pink moss?" "Because I'm a monster, and boy, am I cross." They fled from the monster and headed for Saturn, where Simon tried pants and with a star-spangled pattern. "Look at that weirdo," the alien said. "On Saturn, they all wear their pants on their head." At the store on Uranus, all shrouded in mist, Simon said, "Toilet paper's next on Mom's list." "Of course," grinned the thing with the tentacled face. "For TP, this planet is just the right place." "Right," declared Simon. "Before we go back, why don't we stop for a drink and a snack?" They called in at Pluto for cosmic rock cakes, which they ate at the Milky Way parlor with shakes. On Neptune, they hoped to get space fish and fries. Instead, all they caught was a scary surprise. "Time to head home. Give it maximum power," said Simon. Then, yikes! It's a meteor shower. Down poured the meteors. When would they stop? Then, uh-oh, they all heard a sound. It was pop. "Don't panic," said Rodney. "It's under control." And he climbed up and plunked his rear end in the hole. They drifted back down to the earth with a bump. That made Uncle Somerset wake up with a jump. "Oh, don't mind the puncture," he said. "I can patch it. But you'd better run home to your mom or you'll catch it." Imagine the look of surprise on Mom's face when Simon declared, "I've been shopping in space." "You can tell us about it at dinner time, please," said his mom. "I've made pizza. I just need the cheese." Simon searched in the bag for the things on Mom's list. "Whoops," blushed the squirrel. "There's one thing I missed. Cheese!" Good for his friends. There they all are eating pizza. I love that story. Great story. Now I have a second one for you called The Most Magnificent Thing. And it is written and illustrated by Ashley Spires. And I read this with permission from Kids Can Press. The Most Magnificent Thing. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things, he unmakes things. One day the girl had a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. These pictures are a little bit smaller, so I'll bring them up. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. And all she has to do is make it. And she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. First, she hires an assistant. Next, she gathers their supplies. They set up somewhere out of the way and get to work. The girl tinkers and hammers and measures, while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she is finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around one side. Her assistant examines the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. They are shocked to discover that the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even kind of sort of okay. It is all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. When she is finished, she stands up and takes a long look at it. Her assistant gives it a nudge with his paw. The thing is still wrong. She decides to try it again. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands and examines and stares. She twists and tweaks and fashions. She fixes and straightens and studies. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square. She makes it round. She gives it legs. She adds antenna. She makes it fuzzy. She makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese. But none of them are magnificent. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't see the magnificent thing that is in her mind. She gets mad. I almost didn't read that. The angrier she gets, the faster she works. She smashes pieces into shapes. She jams parts together. She plummets a little bits in. Her hands feel too big to work, and her brain is too full of all the not right things. If only the thing would just work. Crunch. Oh, got her finger. The pain starts in her finger. It rushes up to her brain until she explodes. It was not her finest moment. I'm no good at this. I quit. Her assistant suggests a walk. It's not much help at first, but before long, she starts to feel better. Bit by bit, the mad gets pushed out of her head. As they stroll along, she comes across the first wrong things she's made. The bad feelings are about to start all over again. Then she notices something surprising. There are some parts of the wrong things that are really quite right. The bolts on one, the shape of the other, the wheel to seat ratio of the next. There are all sorts of parts that she likes. By the time she reaches the end of the trail, she finally knows how to make the thing magnificent. She gets to work. She works carefully and slowly, tinkering, hammering, twisting, fiddling, gluing, painting. Her assistant makes sure there are no distractions. The afternoon fades into evening. Finally, she finishes. She alerts her assistant. The pair take a good long look. It leans a little to the left, and it's a bit heavier than expected. The color could use a bit work, too, but it's just what she wanted. They climb aboard, take it for a spin. They are not disappointed. It really is the most magnificent thing. I felt that way before too. You get frustrated, when something doesn't work. But then when you calm down, you think it allows you to think better, and then it works. So let me read you a third book called Burnt Toast on Davenport Street, written and illustrated by Tim Egan. Burnt Toast on Davenport Street. It was no surprise that Arthur Crandall burned the toast again. Arthur always burned the toast. His wife Stella was quite used to it, and she really didn't mind. It was a familiar smell in the morning that made her feel at home. Arthur and Stella were happy dogs. They lived at 623 Davenport Street and had lived there for many years. They spent their days doing what most dogs do: eating, walking, and sleeping. It was a nice life. Not perfect, but nice. The only really bad part was when they'd go for their morning walk. Davenport Street was certainly pleasant enough, but down on the corner, 5 unruly crocodiles were always hanging around. They loved nothing more than tormenting the 2 friendly dogs. They'd shout stuff like, "Hey, lady, what did your husband give you for your birthday? A flea collar?" And throw things at Arthur, yelling, "Hey, muttface, fetch!" Arthur always growled under his breath, but Stella would say, "Oh, Arthur, just ignore them. They're jerks." Still not a day went by that Arthur did not get furious. One morning, while Arthur was preparing breakfast, a fly flew in the window and buzzed around his face. Arthur grabbed his swatter and was about to flatten the fly when it yelled, "Wait!" So Arthur waited. "If you don't kill me," said the fly, "I'll grant you 3 wishes." "Oh, come on," said Arthur. "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're a fly. You can't grant wishes." "Yes, I can," said the fly. "I'm a magic fly." "Yeah, right," said Arthur. "And I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Nice try. Listen, why don't you just buzz on out of here? I won't kill you." "Thank you," said the fly. "But first, your 3 wishes." "This is absurd," said Arthur. "Okay, first, I want a new toaster. And I don't know, change the crocodiles on the corner into squirrels. And let's see, for number 3, I want to live on an exotic tropical island filled with crazy natives who run around singing and dancing all day long. Okay? Satisfied? Now beat it." "It shall be done," said the fly as he buzzed out the window. "Whatever," said Arthur as he continued making breakfast. A few days passed, and Arthur forgot all about the silly fly. Then one morning, Stella walked into the kitchen and found a squirrel standing on the counter. "What in the world? Shoo!" she yelled out, and she chased him out the door. When Arthur came running to see what was happening, he noticed the toaster was missing. "Hey, we've been robbed," he shouted. They both sat for a minute and discussed how strange it was that somebody would steal their toaster. Then they finished their coffee and went for their morning stroll. As they headed down the street, Arthur prepared for the daily taunts of the crocodiles. But when they got to the corner, they both stopped short. Instead of crocodiles, there were 5 shiny new toasters on the sidewalk. How peculiar, said Stella. Yes, agreed Arthur, but how convenient. He picked up one of the toasters and kept on walking. It wasn't until later that night that it dawned on him what had happened. He explained the whole fly episode to Stella, who thought he had lost his mind. But it's the only thing that makes sense, said Arthur. The fly must have made a mistake. He turned the toaster into a squirrel and the crocodiles into toasters. Well, Arthur, said Stella, that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever told me, but if you say so. Oh, by the way, asked Stella, what was your third wish? He said. You know, I don't even remember. But whatever it was, I'm sure he messed that one up too. Good night, Stella. Good night, Arthur. The next morning, Arthur was, stunned when he woke up and saw a 10-foot-tall llama in a grass skirt standing over him. Arthur and Stella were in their bed on what appeared to be a lush tropical island. Good morning, sir, said the llama. Grapes, bananas, pineapples? Uh-oh, said Arthur. Stella, wake up. We have a small problem. What is it, Arthur? She moaned. Hello, madam. Would you like a coconut? Asked a huge hippo-like creature. Ah, Stella screamed. What is this? Where are we? I'm afraid the fly got my third wish right, said Arthur. Just then, a whole bunch of natives came running out of the jungle, picked up the bed, and started dancing around, shouting, hula, 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 ooh. Stella held on for dear life as Arthur tried to explain. Excuse me, he said frantically. I'm Arthur Crandall. I think there's been a mistake. But the natives were so busy singing and dancing that they didn't hear him. When they finally put the bed down, they grabbed Arthur and Stella and started waltzing around with them. Other natives sat around on logs, playing interesting music on colorful instruments. Although it was all very festive and fun, Arthur just kept yelling, Please, you don't understand. I don't really want this wish at all. I was kidding. Hello? But the natives wouldn't listen. The celebrating continued for 13 hours straight, and Arthur still couldn't get a word in. Finally, as the sun disappeared behind the ocean, Stella had had enough. She spit out the grape that someone had just put in her mouth, stood up on the bed and screamed, Everybody, stop! And everybody did. Now listen to me, she said. My husband Arthur and I lived on Davenport Street. Somehow a magic fly put us here and we'd like to go home now. Really, please. The llama said, Very well. If it was magic that brought you here, it is magic that will return you to Davenport Street. Now, what reminds you most of this place you speak of? Said Arthur. That's a tough one. Let's see. Burnt toast, said Stella. Excellent, said the llama. He took some bread, held it over the fire, then lifted it over his head. Now, he said, close your eyes and repeat. Burnt toast on Davenport Street. Stella leaned over and whispered to Arthur, Why do I not have great faith in this? Well, Arthur whispered back, I didn't think much of that stupid fly either, and look where we are. So they closed their eyes and began to chant, Burnt toast on Davenport Street. Burnt toast on Davenport Street. It was easily the weirdest thing they had ever done. Even weirder, though, was that it worked. When they stopped chanting and opened their eyes, they found themselves sitting on their kitchen counter. Well, that was interesting, said Arthur. And if I ever see that fly again, Now, Arthur, said Stella. It was, after all, exciting and adventurous, and it'll make for interesting conversation if we ever tell anyone. And hey, said Arthur, at least those obnoxious crocodiles won't be bothering us anymore. They both smiled and wagged their tails. Unfortunately, their bed was still back on the island, so they slept on the floor that night. And the next morning, even with a new toaster, Arthur somehow managed to burn the toast again. But to Stella, nothing ever smelled so wonderful. Burnt toast on Davenport Street. All right, my last one is called Taxi Ride with Victor by Sara, Trofa, and Elsa Klinger. And excuse me a second, while I just get a drink. That last one made me thirsty. Taxi Ride with Victor. Victor had always dreamed of becoming a taxi driver, the greatest taxi driver, the galaxy's greatest taxi driver. Alert, friendly, and fast. No one would know every shortcut in the galaxy. It's true that Victor became a taxi driver. It's also true he always got lost. Left, right, turn here, no, go straight. A ride in Victor's taxi was sure to be an adventure. But he always tried to find his way. On Monday, where to? Asked Victor. The hairdresser, please, replied a gray-haired lady. With a nod, Victor flew straight, then up, then left. Are you sure this is the right way? It was certainly the right way to Luna Park. On Tuesday, where to? Asked Victor. Luna Park, please, replied a very excited boy. My grandma told me you took her there yesterday. I did? Mused Victor. Turning right, then left, then straight again, until he dropped the boy off at the Central Library. On Wednesday, where to? Asked Victor. The Central Library. Hurry, please. I'm late for work, replied the head librarian, gobbling his breakfast in the back of the cab. And make sure you take the right route. I've heard you've been quite distracted lately. Off Victor flew. First left, then right, then straight ahead, before taking another left, which is how the head librarian found himself at the dentist's office. On Thursday, where to? Asked Victor, who was anxious not to make another wrong turn. The dentist, please, replied a wailing ghost. You might have noticed that I have no teeth. Victor accelerated straight, then left, then right again, until the ghost found itself at the Mad Scientist Funhouse Laboratory. On Friday, where to? Asked Victor. The florist, said the mad scientist. I'm going to buy some flowers for my new friend, the ghost. Uh-oh, wondered Victor. Did I make another wrong turn? And left he went, then straight, then up, and then up again, until the mad scientist found himself on top of the universe's highest mountain. On Saturday, where to? Asked Victor. The top of the highest mountain, please, replied a dark and heavy cloud, hoping to deliver a dramatic thunderstorm at its peak. Worried it would rain inside his cab, Victor drove very fast, straight, right, down, left, up, and through, until he reached a planet he had never been to. It was the driest realm he had ever seen, but the cloud, who was bursting at the seams, got off just in time to rain, rain, rain. On Sunday, where to? Asked Victor. Take me back to my rainless realm now, demanded a queen who had lost her way. I'm on it, said Victor with confidence. Straight, ahead, between, and left. Then right he sped. to bring the lost queen to the hairdressers instead. Every day of the week, no matter how confident he felt, Victor always got lost. He looked so frustrated. But there I was, sitting in his cab, ready to take him to a very special place. Where to? He asked with a smile. The post office, please, I replied. And down he went, then up and right, then left. He certainly wasn't going the right way. Did I say post office? I'm sorry, I meant the gym. Still smiling, Victor looped around, went straight, then left, then straight again. Whoops, did I say gym? Silly me. I meant the bakery. And that was our ride. Victor took so many wrong turns, he finally found himself right in the middle of a party, a big surprise party for Victor, who had brought us all such unexpected happiness. It was Grandma's idea, her grandson who spread the word, the librarian who wrote the invitations, the ghost who put up the decorations and made the playlist, the mad scientist who baked the cake, and I brought Victor. We all had fancy hairdos styled by the lost queen, who had found her true self as the queen of the beauty parlor. The people from the driest realm couldn't come to the party, but they sent a letter to Victor, the galaxy's greatest taxi driver. Thank you for bringing us so much rain. We are soaked with happiness. P.S. That really was the best rainstorm I could possibly rain. Loved, Cloudy Cloud. And that's how Victor realized he was a natural, maybe not at driving taxis, but at bringing people happiness. Where to? The end. Now, thank you for listening to the stories, and I do have a little craft that's an alien. It's a little alien finger puppet. With googly eyes, of course. And it's actually very easy. All you need is a pipe cleaner of whatever colors you would like to make your alien. You need 2 small pom-poms. They're pretty little. And then 2 larger pom-poms and 2 googly eyes. And so first off, you want to bend the pipe cleaner in half. And then you're going to use your middle finger to be the puppet holder. And so you need to measure. There I am with my middle finger, and I would go up a little bit to put the first eyes on. Look at it and make it even. And then I used a glue gun, a low heat glue gun. So if you have that, that works really well. But you could also use glue, tacky glue, fabric glue, even Elmer's glue will wait. But of course, glue, you have to wait until it dries before it stays on. And first thing you want to do is take one of your larger balls and glue the Google eye to it. And do the same with the second one. Glue the Google eye. And then where you measured and thought that the eyes would be a good distance from your finger, glue that whole thing onto the pipe cleaner. And then the little balls are for his antenna, but also, I'm going too fast here, because you do need to cut it down a little bit. If it's that long, it kind of like wiggles and wobbles too much. See how I cut this one down? So cut it down even, and then glue on your little balls, and then you have your little alien finger puppet. So thank you for joining me today. And we still are doing the summer reading program. So you can, if you haven't signed up yet, you can still sign up for that. Go to pueblolibrary.org/summer reading. And thank you for joining me today.